extreme. The President of the United States who would bow to a Muslim king. That's extreme. You want to know what's extreme? What's extreme is when the President of the United States tries to make 9/11 not a memorial holiday, but a day of service. That's extreme. Extreme to me is the concept of a global community. Whatever happened to American sovereignty? I'm forgetting along, but not at the expense of what made this country great, our sovereignty. I'll tell you what's extreme is the President of the United States going on an apology tour. All that to say this, my friends. I don't believe that Barack Obama culturally, listen to that word, culturally, listen to it again, especially for you press folks out there. Barack Obama culturally is not an American. We know the influences in his life. We know what he believes. I haven't read the book, but somebody who did told me that in one of his books, he's on record as saying if push comes to shove, he'll stand with the Muslims. That's extreme to me. That's extreme. Well, let's pull the curtain back a little bit, and let's analyze some motives here, and let's dig just a little bit deeper. Why the extreme label? Why? Where does that word come from? Why is it used in this debate? When somebody puts a label on you, like the label extreme, here's what that means. Here's what that means. That means that they may as well hang a sign around their neck that says, I can't beat you in a fair fight. One of the most despicable tactics in public opinion managing is the tactic of labeling. Labeling. Don't tell me I'm extreme. Say you did this and that's extreme. Spell it out. Spit it out. Tell me what I did. Tell me when I did it. Put some quotes around the words, and then we'll talk about whether or not that's extreme. Too many cheap shot artists out there in the press. Too many cheap shot artists out there in Congress. Now let me tell you what's not extreme. Let me tell you what's not extreme, folks. We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men and women are created equal and endowed by their Creator. Not by the government. By their Creator. With certain unalienable rights, and that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's right, self-evident. They're not supposed to require an explanation. God gave them to us. They're not subject to the government's approval. And they're not subject to the government's self-declared authority to limit them. Thomas Jefferson had in mind when he talked about the pursuit of happiness, he had in mind public happiness. Is the public happy in this country? Have you looked at the polls? No. Thomas Jefferson let the eye of vigilance never be closed. Never be closed. And the government would say, we're not trying to close your eyes. We're trying to give you government-approved sunglasses. Thomas Jefferson talked about a wonderful, wonderful concept that we have thrown away in our government, and that is the concept of a citizen legislator. A citizen legislator. You come off the farm, you come off the factory, you go to Congress, you serve a couple of years, and then you go home and live under the laws that you pass. That way maybe you won't exempt yourself from Social Security. Or health care. The Apostle Paul said, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty.
Yes.
To the extent that that liberty is being diminished right now, refer to the Apostle Paul.
Yes.
By the way, I'm not endorsing anyone, and it's too far out for me to even know who I'm going to vote for. But the closest that I've come to seeing a citizen legislator in my lifetime happens to be Sarah Palin. Washington says, trust us, trust us. Refer to my previous comment about being born at night. Wasn't last night. The Republican National Committee would define a conservative in the person of John McCain. Now, God bless John McCain for his war hero status. My hat is off to him. But John McCain, if John McCain is a conservative, I need a new definition of what I am. Let me tell you what's at stake here, folks. Let me tell you what's at stake.
I'm interrupting for just a moment. John Barry is about to leave. Anybody want that autographed CD? We want to thank John. His CDs are right over here. So let's give a round of applause for John Barry. I'm sorry.
What a privilege it was to share this meeting with John Barry. John, you really added a huge, huge element to this and lifted this whole meeting to a new level.
Thank you.
Let me wrap this up and talk about what's at stake here, folks. What's at stake is no less than who gets to define what it means to be an American. My father fought in World War II to help define what it is to be an American. How many veterans here today? God bless you guys.
Thank you.
You fought to uphold what it means in our understanding to be an American.
Yes.
And now,
There are those who are
trying to redefine what it means to be an American. These people are recycled 1960s hippies who found the Washington, and they don't define what it is for me to be an American. Neither do the Ivy League yuppie lawyers that have infiltrated and infested Washington, D.C. So who has the right to define what it means to be an American? I hope it's Americans who know our history.
Yes.
And to know where we came from, and to know that there's no such thing since 1776 as a royal legislative class. We don't need royalty in Washington. We don't want royalty in Washington, D.C. Who gets to define what it is to be an American? I'll tell you who does. You do, and you do, and you do. That little boy over there does. And if we don't listen to the words of Thomas Jefferson, who said the price of liberty is eternal vigilance, then we will forfeit the right to define